Hi, we're at the 2025 Dairy Sustainability Summit in Visalia, California, and I'm sitting here with Karen Ross. She's the California Agriculture Secretary, and she just got done speaking on stage. Welcome, Karen. Give us a little bit of what you talked about this morning to the producers.
For me, it was just an opportunity to show my gratitude for everything that dairy families do for California every day in their rural communities. It was talking about just going through this past year because of the avian influenza situation, which is an extraordinary event that none of us anticipated. What comes from wild birds could actually infect cows. So that's been a really stressful time. The cooperation, working with our state veterinarian, the biosecurity measures that everybody's really focused on because we don't know what the future holds. So that was one sense of gratitude, as well as being able to express gratitude for our state veterinarian, Dr. Annette Jones, and her team. But also for the commitment of our dairy families to sustainability. This is about the long-term thinking that farmers do and dairy families show about the next generation. Few businesses think that long-term. And to have people making decisions with that as a frame, I wish the rest of the state could appreciate that. They're embracing environmental sustainability, but they can't survive if they also don't have economic sustainability and their commitments to their communities. Thank them for organizations that are putting on this conference, Dairy Cares, the Milk Advisory Board, which I've traveled around the world with, and we always start with the cheese board, as well as the commitment to nutrition. And the 100 years of work of the Dairy Council of California is extraordinary. The incoming federal administrations really focus on nutrition to improve health outcomes. The Dairy Council is a hugely important partner for us. It's just like a big thank you, love note to dairy families in California.
Yeah, and I think you conveyed that message really well. I definitely felt like you were showing your love to them. Another thing you were talking about, I think before we were talking this about regenerative agriculture and sustainability and how farmers have embraced that. Can you speak a little more to that?
Yeah, we're all living in these really erratic times of extreme weather events. We get a 100-year flood event, but then you've got it 3 years later again, or the tremendous increase in hurricane activity, severe droughts, but then the huge flood event because of that atmospheric river activity that happened. I'm thinking specifically going to 2023 because of the dairy farms around here that were impacted by that. And just like people, I think, are looking for adaptation and how do we build resilience? So investing in healthy soils, additional water holding capacity, improved nutrient cycling, that really improves soil productivity for future generations to feed themselves, on-farm water use efficiency, which with all the new technologies, we could fund that program forever and still not have all the newest technologies out there. And then, of course, for dairy, because of the legislation, the only place on earth where there's a requirement to reduce livestock methane emissions, the dairy families, because of the approach we've taken with voluntary incentive programs, over $300 million have been invested in dairy digesters, renewable energy production out of that, as well as alternative manure management practices. That's over 25 million metric tons of CO2 equivalents that have been reduced as a greenhouse gas in California out of the over 27.5 million metric tons reductions that we've achieved in all of our programs put together. That's remarkable. They're 2/3 of the way to the goal of 40% reduction by 2030.
And that is in the last decade, right?
It's huge in 10 years' time. But it's been a partnership. It's a partnership with us, the state of California, saying, we're putting these dollars into this. And the families have embraced that, and they've done remarkable things.
So you did talk a lot about the partnerships, and I think it does take a lot of those partnerships in order to make the dairy industry viable. And not just talking about the dairy industry, because we do speak to all things agriculture here at My Ag Life. So just maybe to wrap this up, you're the California Secretary of Agriculture, and you've been doing this a long time. Just leave us with some parting words for ag in general.
Things are always bumpy in agriculture. I say ag adaptation happens every day in the field or the corral or the pasture. And it's that resiliency of farmers embracing innovation. We built wonderful public research institutions and the transfer of that knowledge to farmers to have practical solutions. But I think it's really important that we remind our consuming public the most important partnership is those people who pick what they pick in the marketplace and on their plate. To be as proud of agriculture as we are, to understand that huge commitment to quality of product, food safety, environmental stewardship, care for the animals. Many people don't realize what that really means. We should all be champions for what this means and hold it up as a hugely exciting career opportunity for young people too.
The consumer message, getting the message to the consumer. Are there any tips for the industry to get that message out there better?
Yeah. The Milk Advisory Board does a really great job of communicating that, and probably as good as any other commodity group, long-term commitment to that. I also think it's like showing up in classrooms, because at the young age where lifestyles are being shaped, getting them started on a really healthy lifestyle is important, but that's also where we can introduce them to, where does my food come from? Because many children don't get exposed to that. Kids take that home to mom and dad, and that's another opportunity for us, being willing to go speak to Rotary clubs and other types of things. We think even here in the Valley, oh, everybody knows about ag and what we do on the farm. Not necessarily.
No, yeah.
Don't take anything for granted. Let's all be a voice to speak out for California agriculture.
I think that's great to end it on. Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
Great to meet you.